welcome back to Beagle Eye Vision. Shout out to Jay Dyer. Shout out to Jay Dyer today. We're doing Esoteric Hollywood #2, and Happy New Year's. Happy 2025. We've made it another year, miraculously. CEOs are dropping dead. What else happened this year? An assassination attempt on our ridiculous, the P resident. But anyways, we're here for a book review. I know it's been a while. Thanks for tuning in. What up, Little Kitty? What are you doing? What are you doing? Shout out to Little Kitty. Little Kitty, everybody. It's not just Beagle Eye Visions anymore. There's cats, dogs, there's frogs. No. Alright, I guess Little Kitty's just gonna chill. Welcome back! I've been grinding so much. I worked 5 days in a row this week. I got overtime this week. I've been getting crazy overtime. I got a promotion in a job I've never worked before. After a month, I got a promotion. They gave me a promotion. I guess they like me or something. But anyways, I'm digressing as usual. But it's a little intro for you guys before we get really into the book. Look at this awesome W cup I got. Oh, my hat. I don't have the W hat. Oh well, life goes on. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Up to, I think last time I checked it was like 169 subscribers yesterday. Last time I checked. Thank you guys. Shouts out to all you subscribers. Shouts out to all you guys. So anyways, thanks again. We're going to get into it. And this starts with a quote. So Esoteric Hollywood 2, more sex, cults, and symbols in film. I got a lot of notes, so I need to, definitely need to stay on topic for this one. Alright, so direct quote from the book. We have recently acquired 4,000 new pages of documents from the Pentagon and CIA through the Freedom of Information Act. For us, these documents were the final nail in the coffin. These documents for the first time demonstrate that the U.S. government has worked behind the scenes on over 800 major movies and more than 1,000 TV titles. Alongside the massive scale of these operations, our new book, National Security Cinema, details how U.S. government involvement also includes script rewrites on some of the biggest and most popular films, including James Bond, the Transformers franchise, and movies from the Marvel and DC cinematic universes. That's direct quote from page 1 of Esoteric Hollywood 2. Let's get a. Jay Dyer does a great job on these covers, so try to get in there. Try to show you guys. Hope you can see it. Hope you got a good look there. I'm gonna show off my Bull Bash shirt because a horrible, immoral person got me this jacket. So take that off. So straight out of the introduction, Jay Dyer hits us with compounding evidence that Hollywood is merely a front for drug running, cartels, money laundering operations, seedy real estate, and the lot. Sponsored by Disney and Netflix. Seeing as these days, every streaming service is ran by a few monopolies if you follow the money. There's literally like, it used to be 3. There was like Time Warner, Comcast, and I think it was like DirecTV or like Satellite TV or something. Now there's like 5 of them, 5 or 7 or so, I can't remember. But out of that first quote that he mentions the James Bond franchise. So if you guys remember the No Time to Die, the most recent and apparently the last James Bond movie, I'm sure they're going to extend the universe, like make like Jane Bond or something, you know, gender bender it. I'm sure you know how Hollywood does it nowadays. So No Time to Die, it was delayed because of script rewrites, and that's really interesting after that, you know, hearing that quote. It was delayed, script rewrites after script rewrites. It was delayed 4 times. It was supposed to come out on like April 17th of 2019, and then the infamous scamdemic happened, and then, you know, and the subject of the movie No Time to Die is about coincidentally, it's about a virus that's you can't 6 feet. There's a random virus 6 feet. Anyways, reminding me of the brain rot martial art movies I used to love watching when I was growing up. A lot like Christian Slater's character in True Romance. He loves watching those old kung fu movies. He goes to the movie theater. He goes to the cheap like dollar theater in True Romance. What a classic! I love. If you haven't seen the movie True Romance, what are you doing, man? You need to go watch True Romance. That movie is phenomenal. Anyways, so fronts for the CIA's fund money were earned by exploiting the hip-hop industry and getting drugs into the inner cities. When I thought I was watching a cheesy but down-to-earth Steven Seagal film, it was really just a generic version of The Matrix made to clean up the government's reputation by giving an unwitting audience propaganda on why the police are the good guys, while also laundering drug and blackmail profits. So, if you're confused, if you're not following, well, first of all, you should probably read the first Esoteric Hollywood book. That's probably why you're confused, you dummy. Go back and read the first Esoteric Hollywood book, and then go watch the first Beagle Eye Visions book review on the first Esoteric Hollywood book, and then you might, follow with us. Then you'll be following. So, yeah, so these movies are made by random production companies who you've never heard of before. A lot of the Steven Seagal films were made by these production companies that just sprung up out of nowhere. Literally overnight, these production companies come out of nowhere, and it's usually the production company has X amount of money from running drugs and, and doing property fronts or doing, like I said, seedy real estate deals. And so this is how it all starts. And I'm kind of just like skimming over it. I'm not going too deep into it because, like I say on every single book review, you guys need to read the book. Read books! Jesus, every time I talk about, like I was telling my coworkers I was doing a book review today, and their eyes just like they were like, "What's a book? You're doing a book review on social media website? No, it's an actual book. These things made out of paper that have like X amount of pages that people used to read way back in the day that have insane amount of information." But anyways, so one example is from the film studio named United Pacific Studios, a company known for B-movie martial art films to renting property for network television. So it's kind of like how McDonald's doesn't sell food. McDonald's gets profit from selling real estate. McDonald's does not make money from selling food. They make money from selling property and opening up new stores. That's how they get more profit, more revenue. And this company was also used by the FBI to create a sting operation against the state senator. I think it was Arizona or something was the state senator that he mentions in the book. Business as usual, like what Mark Devlin would say. Other films that hold a special nostalgic place in my heart are the Tomb Raider films, which, this is the second time I've read this book, but this blew my mind. According to Douglas Thompson, Thompson, here's a direct quote. The $94 million budget for the Angelina Jolie display, Lara Croft Tomb Raider 2001, involved remarkable arithmetic. It only cost Paramount Studios $7 million to make the movie, but then they had that covered too. They used a tax shelter in Germany, and they received a tax break in the UK as part of the $87 million they had on hand before Lara Croft began her exceptionally profitable franchise adventures. The studio paid legal costs which are tax deductible in America, federal, and California, state, and that's direct quote from page 7. So the film studio props up overnight United Pacific Studios, or no, that's not the one that worked on the Angelina Jolie films. So they purchased property And sometimes the company in America, based in America, will purchase property overseas, and then they sort of, you know, like they know how to work the legal financial system. So basically, they buy property and then they get a tax break, and then, you know, it's like tax deductible in America, so it's federal and state. Because the company is probably based out of California, so that's where they get the state fund, the state taxes, and then the federal for. It's really sketchy. It's really like a lot of backdoor deals going on in Hollywood. Yet another example is one of the greatest Christmas films of all time, Lethal Weapon. Hey, shout out to Lethal Weapon. Riggs, where Martin Riggs explained his past with the government through the Phoenix program, which we find out later in history about 40 years after the Lethal Weapon movies came out. We find out that the Phoenix program is real, blurring the line between truth and fiction. In the very next scene in Lethal Weapon, a bomb goes off showing a plane and the street sign that... So there's an explosion in a resident's house. The house explodes. The scene shows a plane in the frame, like a plane just coming into frame, and then the street sign says 9/11. So we're getting into some more predictive programming, just like the Matrix. So section 1 of this book, section 1 of Esoteric Hollywood 2, is called Hollywood Mobs, Cults, Spies, and the Occult. So some very good stuff. That was just all from the introduction. Well, like I said, we're barely scratching the surface in this review. So the first 4 chapters discuss the connection between government and the dots between crime, CIA, and the FBI. Iron Man 3, The Godfather, Clue, which is like caught me off guard. The Clue movie. And chapter 5 is where it starts getting really entertaining. I'm going to take another drink here. Take another drink out of here, out of my fantastic 10 out of 10 W cup right here. These cups are really durable, by the way. I had a cup holder on my bike last summer, and sometimes, like, my old original W cup like fell out of the bike holder sometimes. Going up a hill too high, or I'd hit the grass ramp as I was ramping and it popped up. You know, they're very durable cups, made in America. Well, actually, I don't think the cups say made in China, but apparently everything else Dobby does is made in America. That's what they promote, anyways. Who knows? I don't know. So the subject of what did I just say? The subject of chapter 5 is the goofy film, as Jay Dyer says, Point Break, directed by James Cameron's wife at the time, Catherine Bigelow. Dyer basically states that Point Break is merely a propaganda film painting the FBI and the government as the good guys. And so, like, that's what I mentioned, these Steven Seagal films, where Steven Seagal is always like, I work for the FBI, I work for the CIA. You know, all these movies are just pure 100% propaganda to convince you, or, you know, my teenage self growing up in the ghetto watching all these kung fu movies, that, you know, the police are the good guys. And all of my, not all of us, a lot of kids in the neighborhood that I grew up with, we all wanted to, like, grow up to be cops. We all wanted to grow up to be like James Bond. You know, we were aspiring to be secret agent spies and stuff like that. Get the gadgets. You know, you get the gadgets, you get the cars, you get the ladies, but it's like I said, it's all propaganda. It's all BS. Total BS military propaganda. So, Dyer also labels Patrick Swayze's character, Bodhi, in the movie as an anarchist multiple times, which made me cringe that despite having a wall of diplomas, despite going to the university, Jay Dyer still doesn't understand what true anarchy is. Yeah, I mean, that's not even a good laugh track right there. It should be like, oh, like, womp, womp, womp. Imagine paying like $300,000 to go to a university and they still don't even teach you what proper etymology is. That's just embarrassing. But anyways, I'm not gonna throw Jay Dyer on the bus under the bus too much. So it is a very short chapter, mostly filled with jokes about actors in the film, including the singer of Red Hot Chili Peppers was in Point Break for some reason. I always thought that was weird. Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is where Jay Dyer loses all of his punk points and street cred. Yeah, Jay Dyer, you have no street cred anymore. I know you do like the gangster thug songs with your necklaces and your sunglasses, and you got your wife and Tristan with your necklaces and sunglasses. Yeah, you have no street cred after this chapter anymore, dude. You lost it all. Describing his analysis for V for Vendetta. On the first page of the chapter, Jay Dyer writes, "True Satanism is anarchic." Which, in my opinion, and not only in my opinion, but like I said, in etymology, if you really study the Emerald language, if you study where our language comes from, you would understand that that couldn't be any farther from the truth. Jay Dyer says, true Satanism is anarchic. I mean, that's the... Dumb. I mean, that's a very dumb statement from you, Jay Dyer. I always thought you were a very smart individual, but that statement is very dumb. Couldn't be any farther from the truth. And again, it shows that Jay Dyer doesn't understand Satanism or anarchy. Apparently, not only does he doesn't understand Satanism, he also doesn't understand anarchy. So, but I understand the university has a tendency to brainwash. So. You know, I guess it makes sense. The university is always brainwashing cats, so you gotta watch out. You gotta use your due diligence when you go to university, people. You know, you go to university and then all of a sudden you want to chop your penis off, and you don't have a gender anymore. That's how it goes. Not only is it pretentious, it is just dead wrong. But Jay Dyer also. He goes to label anarchy as chaos magic. Well, like, listen to this quote. Anarchism is chaos magic intent on releasing the forces of destruction under a self-deluded belief in engineering a mass, quote-unquote, dark night of the soul to create a, quote-unquote, new man. Direct quote from page 71. Again, Jay Dyer, you're just dead wrong. And I can see why Mark Passio doesn't want to debate you, because it's not a debate. Anarchy is freedom. It's definitely not, it doesn't have anything to do with Satanism. And you do all this research, you write all these books, and you still don't understand what Satanism is. Has Jay Dyer read the Satanic Bible? I'm very curious. It seems like he's spending most of his time reading the Bible, you know, like reading all his propaganda. Babylon, you know, Babylon, Jay Dyer. Maybe he just gets too much money from all of his Christian buddy super chats. Like, you know, Jay Dyer. You see Jay Dyer live. He's like, send me some super chats. Give me your money. Give me the super chats. He's just like Trump. Give me the super chats. Give me the super chats. Send me your money. Super chats. Super chats. Freaking, he drives me nuts with that. So then the protagonist of the film, V, is labeled as the devil because he initiates Evie by way of SRA, or satanic ritual abuse, right before claiming that the Wachowski films like The Matrix and Cloud Atlas have allegory that all law is slavery, even gender. Again, you can't be any farther from the truth. All law is slavery? Like, that sounds like some high school rhetoric, dude. Like, what college did you go to? Who taught you this stuff, Jay Dyer? This doesn't make any sense. I almost think like are you a paid provocateur? Is that what it is, Jay Dyer? Are you like you're being paid to you know, like steer people in the wrong direction away from the truth? I don't understand. Okay, so yeah, all law, according to Jay Dyer, the Wachowski's films like The Matrix and Cloud Atlas have allegory that all law is slavery, even gender. That's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know where you're getting that from, dude. So here's another quote. For freedom to be sensible, man as a concept has to have meaning, and there must be some some ground for believing in his quote-unquote dignity and quote-unquote rights. Who or what grants these quote-unquote rights? Nature? But nature demonstrates predator and prey, often with the weaker prey becoming the means by which the fitter members of the animal kingdom survive. Direct quote from page 77. Now I have to take a drink. I had to get some more W because the stupidity is very strong with this chapter. There's so much stupidity. You really have to use your due diligence. So, yes, nature does, in fact, or wait, nature does? In my notes it says nature does, in fact, come from nature. That doesn't make any sense. Rights, I think I meant to say, yes, rights, in fact, do come from nature. What Jay Dyer... What you are referring to is Darwinism, in that quote I just read, which has nothing to do with anarchy or natural law or Satanism or communism. Animals are extinctual creatures on a different order of human beings. Therefore, we are held to a higher degree because human beings, we can tell the difference between right and wrong behavior. When a lion is hungry, he's like, I'm hungry, I gotta go eat. It's not something that he thinks about. He doesn't have the higher thought capacity to do that. It's just like, they don't think, they're just doing. They're instinctual creatures. That's what separates human beings from the animal kingdom. I guess, I mean, like, do you go to church every Sunday? Is that why you don't understand that very simple concept? Like, I don't know. It's really not rocket science. Dyer also claims that 99% of anarchists are atheistic, agnostic, or materialists. Like, bruh, 99% of anarchists, I personally, I would love to see, Jay Dyer, I'm calling you out. Where's the empirical evidence? Where is the evidence that 99% of all anarchists are atheistic, materialistic, or agnostic? I'm waiting. I'm getting old waiting for the empirical evidence, Jay Dyer. Please point to me the article that has the statistics that shows 99% of all anarchists think in this capacity. Because you're just dead wrong. You're just dead wrong. So, again, yeah, I would love to see the empirical evidence of that claim. But anyways, the chapter closes on the analysis of a film called Buckaroo Banzai, a film I've never seen before, so we're going to move on. Chapter 8 covers Roman Polanski's The Ninth Gate. Chapter 9, Twin Peaks. Chapter 10, Back to the Future, which actually, The Ninth Gate is an okay movie. I need to rewatch it again. Like, Johnny Depp's kind of cool. I don't know. I think Johnny Depp does a way better job in The Rum Diary. As he gets older, he's been acting a lot better. When he did The Ninth Gate, he was still kind of young and naive. But anyways, Chapter 10, Back to the Future. I didn't write too many notes because I knew there were some other chapters that I wanted to talk about. So Dyer points out the juxtaposition of time travel. Oh, in the Back to the Future chapter, he points out the juxtaposition of time travel movie that is littered with predictive programming. Marty is a teenager bored with his suburban, boring life and greedily wants more. Right? I was at work and Back to the Future was the whole entire trilogy was playing the whole shift. And, yeah, like, Marty is so greedy, like, he's cool. He's cool because he rides a skateboard, but he's like bored with his life. His parents work their buns off, give him everything to make sure he's good, and he's like, I'm bored. My life is dismal. Oh, my parents work so hard. Oh, he's like he's super just ungrateful, he's a spoiled little Kennedy, really. Like, like, man, Marty McFly. Hello! McFly! Anyways, Teenager bored with suburban boring life and greedily wants more. There are also 9/11 references and Trump becoming president. Trump becomes president in Back to the Future, so more predictive programming, really fascinating stuff. It's not Trump, yeah, I know. Before you put it in the comments and grill me in the comments, it's really just Biff. But I mean, look at that haircut. Look at that haircut and tell me that's not Trump. Go back and watch Back to the Future. How is that not Trump? Yeah, you're not going to convince me that it's not. The chapter on Back to the Future makes for a very, very compelling read with all the predictive programming, all the elements, all of the predictive programming. Oh yeah, they tried to shoot me, they missed, and I looked right at the I'm way too tired. Okay, I'm just trying to stay on topic. So, Chapter 14. Chapter 14 is a really good chapter worth talking about. The entire chapter is on the TV show, the infamous TV show Stranger Things, right? So Dyer shows us the symbolism and ideas from the first season of Stranger Things, which is definitely the best, although the SRA, the satanic ritual abuse in the first season, it's tough to get through, man. Like, everything Elle goes through is like, it's tough. I actually have chills down my spine just thinking about what they did. Like, they put her like underwater. They made Elle kill a cat. Well, that's in my notes. Elle is told to kill a kitten, which is part of initiation. And if you go listen to the podcast, amazing 10 out of 10 podcast. Shout out to Sean McCann, Cosmic Peach, real quick. I mean, Wake the Dead podcast is so good. They talk about SRA really in depth. So, I can't do it justice. Go listen to Wake the Dead podcast. I'll put it in the link of this description. Really good stuff. Really very informative podcast. One of the best out there. Elle is told to kill a kitten, an initiation. Another secret government project is brought up that I'm not familiar with called Project Montauk. Montauk. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So, here's another direct quote. Actually, I'm going to take a drink. And then I'll give you another direct quote from the book. W is so good, dude. I'm drinking some of the Dub sludge right here. Oh. Ooh, just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. It's so good. So, originally slated to be titled, the show was titled to be, the show was titled to be. I'm saying it backwards. The show was slated to be titled Montauk, which is really interesting. The same after the project, Montauk. So, originally slated to be titled Montauk, the series echoes the dubious accounts of Project Montauk, where purportedly time and space were altered in government-sponsored psyops and time travel experiments with the famed UFO researcher Jacques Vallée, commenting the experiments were related to the Philadelphia experiment. Another direct quote from page 174. Philadelphia experiment is another one that I have not yet heard of. I mean, well, I read this book before, right? So I've heard of it before, but I never actually I didn't do any research until this book review. It's a hell of a rabbit hole to go into. I highly recommend it. Like, do your research on these topics for sure. You guys have seen the show. You know, the white hair dude in the science lab calls Elle his daughter. Like, really creepy stuff. Which is super creepy and cringe. You know, it has the same. Stranger Things has the same themes as the Lost Boys, which we will get into in a future chapter. Dyer points out that there are no strong male characters in Stranger Things, which I never thought about that until he until I read this book. Yeah, I mean, every single male character in Stranger Things they're all spineless. They're spineless, hedonistic, solipsistic. You know, they're just saps. They're saps. They're sad saps. Like the cop Hopper, Dennis, or it's not Dennis Hopper, but you know, the cop in Stranger Things, the character, his name's Hopper. Hopper says, this is a direct quote from the show and the book, "The government would never lie, and they are on our side." That's what Hopper says. Like, spineless. Spineless. No balls. Anyways, so the same tired old propaganda we've heard for decades. There's even a MK Ultra reference Hopper finds, and Matthew Modine of Full Metal Jacket. Full Metal Jacket, what a classic. Oh my god, Full Metal Jacket is so good. Matthew Modine of Full Metal Jacket just so happens to be Dr. Brenner, the old, creepy, white-haired science dude who says Elle is my daughter. You're my daughter. It's so creepy. Oh my god. So, in the second season, Elle ditches her friends. Oh, I forgot about that. So this was when I was in the band Bare Knuckle Hooligans, when I watched the second season, and I mean, these guys are like, oh, Elle becomes punk rock, blah, 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 blah. But she ditches her friends. She ghosts like all of her friends. Like, that drives me nuts. She ghosts her friends right after she said. Okay, spoiler alerts. Do a spoiler dance. What's the spoiler dance? So, spoilers for Stranger Things. Elle sacrifices herself. She basically dies. The season is left on a cliffhanger. And then the second season, she doesn't die. She comes back alive, and she says, she gives the finger to all of her friends that she just sacrificed herself for. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Why would she do that? She's gonna sacrifice herself and then ditch her friends and run away like an edgy teenager, like run away from her hometown. And that wasn't even her hometown. Those dudes, the boys, the lads, like welcomed her in and like gave her a home. You know, with who's the guy who's missing in the first season? Will, right? Yeah, so the whole, that's a whole nother layer. A whole nother layer to the allegory. The entire first season, what are they searching for? They're searching for Will. They're trying to find their Will. And then they find it, and she's like, yeah, screw you, bye. Like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. The writing is horrible. Duffy Brothers, what the hell were you thinking? What were you thinking? So in the second season, Elle ditches her friends and joins up with a bunch of fake punks and trust fund babies. The show has been extremely degenerated and stuffed with princess programming, just like what happened to Cobra Kai. You know, pure trash. Because by the third season, if you remember in the first season, Elle, like, the more she used her power that she received from SRA, the more she used her power, it hurt her. It caused her to do nosebleeds. Like, it caused her pain. And then, so she sacrificed herself. And by the third season, she's in the mall shopping with, you know, her little girly friends. And she's using her powers to, like, prank dudes without any nosebleeds. And she could just use the power as much as she wants. It's just so, it's horrible writing. It's horrible, just garbage. Degeneracy, you know, but the nostalgia was cool, I guess. So, so section 2 of Esoteric Hollywood is called Hollywood Mind Control. So the chapter on A Clockwork Orange backs up Jay Dyer's claims that he makes on Stranger Things, as well as many other movies, including movies in the you know, in the first Esoteric Hollywood. Oh, so Stanley Kubrick, who made A Clockwork Orange, he had his hands in the pockets of the elites. It's no wonder why he knows so much and puts it into his work. We discussed this topic heavily in the book review on the first Esoteric Hollywood because, you know, I think Eyes Wide Shut was covered in the last book. But it's always good to back up your research, though. So of course, you know, it's a solid chapter. All of the stuff that he says on A Clockwork Orange is phenomenal. In Clockwork Orange, it's just one of those. It's a Kubrick film, so there's so many layers. There's so many layers. There's so many like different types of interpretations that people have added to it, and it's just really interesting. It's just, you know, it's a classic. Chapter 18. One of my favorite movies on the freaking planet. They Live. They Live is an absolute classic film. Shout out to They Live. Shout out to They Live. One of the best low-budget B movies, which are always fun. You know, low-budget B movies are the best. Jay Dyer goes deep into this chapter as well as his trademark humor, making for another very, very entertaining section. Also pointing us in the direction of other B movies starring Roddy Piper, like the movie Hell Comes to Frogtown. I haven't seen it, and I definitely need to. Here's another quote from the book. While tainted with a bit of Marxism and class warfare, the overall message of La Résistance is correct and does accurately describe our world. The modern social engineers and Pentagon planners have worked for decades through the large foundations and think tanks to direct culture into a toxic sludge that feeds mindless consumerism. Much of this involves the directing of the passions through mass advertising and marketing. Page 217. Really good stuff. Powerful quote right there, Jay Dyer. Very powerful quote. I still don't understand how you don't know what real anarchy is, but I'm going to try to stay on topic. So that is a spot-on description of the allegory of They Live, if I may say so. Jay Dyer, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. This is a great quote. I could do an entire presentation on this movie alone. The chapter is very extensive. You know, there's hints at geoengineering and even there's even a Tesla name drop. You know, shocking for a Tesla name drop from an Orthodox Christian, right? Like I would love to hear Jay Dyer's opinion on Nikola Tesla. Like, what does he think? Because most Christians look down on Tesla, I feel like. But then again, I haven't been to church. But also, then again, Jay Dyer usually just makes fun of people. You know, anyone he doesn't respect, he just makes fun of and, like, you know, makes a big joke out of him, just like Mark Passio. So maybe I don't want to hear his opinions on Tesla. A book that is heavily quoted in this section is titled Between Two Ages, America's Role in the Technotronic Era by Zbigniew Brzezinski. I hope I pronounced that right. Zbigniew Brzezinski. Zbigniew Brzezinski. Seems like a book that needs to be added to the list of book reviews for sure. This book gets into how certain frequencies, one that we can't even pick up with our material senses, have the ability to affect our emotions. Psychological disorders and emotional distortion. And this made me think of the predictive programming scene in the movie The Kingsman: The Secret Service. It's an amazing movie. Fantastic movie. Go watch The Kingsman. Actually, all of the Kingsman movies are all fantastic. Screw what the haters say. All the haters keep drinking this haterade. The Kingsman movies are all great. They're all fantastic. The sequel is hilarious. The Golden Circle, and even like the name right there, the Golden Circle has some very esoteric elements to the the main character of They Live, Nada, N-A-D-A, Nada is labeled as a terrorist by the lamestream media as usual. You know, again, we've seen this for years. They always do that. The lamestream media always labels, you know, the good guys as terrorists and the bad guys as good, right? Just like the last book review, the last James Bond book review that I did for December, right? In that book, right at the very beginning, the media labels the terrorist as the good guy. They put a spin on his name and like, oh, he's a good guy. He's a humanitarian, they say. Just like in the book series that I did a book review on by Susan Wayne, the Barcode series. Again, it's the same thing. The media labels Kayla in the Barcode series as a terrorist and like she's this evil, immoral person. Very underrated set of novels. Check out the book reviews and then go buy the Barcode series because they're phenomenal and very underrated. Nobody ever talks about them, which makes me sad. The chapter on They Live closes on a strong point that the that the elites and government have mass underground bases around the country, just like the scene where a controlled opposition character says, it's all like one big airport. What? It's just all like one big airport. That guy is funny. Oh, I lost my spot. Oh, here's another quote from the chapter 18 on They Live. So, the Pentagon hired a PR firm paying, listen to this, paying $540 million for the production of fake terror videos. This immediately brings to mind the last 2 years of the glaringly ridiculous ISIS videos. That's a direct quote from page 222. And so I got ahead of my notes. That's what, you know, it's all one big airport. And that quote brought to my mind the Denver, Colorado airport conspiracy. It's the biggest airport in the entire country, and there's a blue horse statue, and this blue horse statue has glowing red eyeballs that people call Blucifer. And in the Denver, Colorado airport, there's a mural that depicts genocide. I can't make it up if I tried. This is all, look up the Denver, Colorado airport. Even though in recent years, like when the Denver, Colorado airport was first built, there was like websites on websites on websites about so much information that you could find on the Denver, Colorado airport. But now you look it up now and it's like, it's all mock. It's all mocking, like, ooh, Denver airport conspiracy is all blah blah, like it's all, like, you'll see, it's weird. You can't find like any good information on the airport. It's all like, a lot of people have been saying the conspiracy theories around Denver airport. You know, it's really, it's hard to find good information on that airport anymore. It's really weird. On YouTube, on Bing, on Google, on all of them, it's next to impossible to find the original information that I used to read, like way back in the day. It's crazy how the internet is controlled and manipulated. But anyways, so chapter 19, The Lost Boys, a classic. We've all seen it. I got to take my little sister Picklehead to see it in the theater. And we were in the theater, so it wasn't too packed, it wasn't sold out, but there was like a lot of people. Like, they kept giving me dirty looks because I was pointing out all of the allegory, all of the symbolism, and all of the, you know, the SRA and the child PEDO stuff that goes on in the Lost Boys. There's a lot of layers. So I got to take my little sister. I was pointing out everything. Dyer says the title is a reference to not only Peter Pan, but human trafficking. The scene right in the beginning showing a community board of missing persons to be the evidence, right? That's Jay Dyer's backup. If that's not enough evidence for you, the board also dons a triangle that the FBI identifies as a PEDO ring symbol. I don't think I can say that word on this platform on YouTube. So it's a triangle with a swirl in the middle, and I kind of drew it for you guys, because he shows a picture of it in the book. Right there. Ooh, with some one-eye symbolism. Ooh, one-eye symbolism. That's kind of rough idea what the symbol looks like in the Lost Boys movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. There's such good allegory. The film also has a reference to Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley has a book called Moonchild, and Michael, or Jim Morrison, whatever his name is inducted to the group by SEX Magic. You adults know what I'm talking about. He's inducted to the group by SEX Magic, and then drinks blood and hallucinogens. Right? He gets kind of drugged, and he thinks the Chinese food is maggots. They're maggots, Michael. They're maggots, Michael. Kind of cringy, classic '80s weird stuff. The creepy old store owner is like. He's very similar to Matthew Modine in Stranger Things, and he wants Max, Michael, and their madre to quote-unquote join his family of soy boy trust fund babies. How do these vampires afford dirt bikes? Are they insured? I work over 30 hours a week, and I can't even afford a vehicle. I guess that's why, their daddy works at, in the Lost Boys, he owns a video rental store. Is that where they get the money for the dirt bikes? Where do they get these money for these dirt bikes? Freaking trust fund vampires. Trust fund vampires. Don't trust them. Dyer closes the chapter on a news story from his neck of the woods on a guy named Rod Farrell who murdered a few people, and he had a cult. He had a cult called Vampire Clan that met in an abandoned hotel. I looked it up. It's quite the rabbit hole. Very interesting. Very interesting stuff. Here we go. We're getting... Woo, we got a lot more notes. So, closes the chapter on a news story. Very interesting stuff. Section 3 of the book is titled Hollywood Forecast, Weather of Mass Destruction and Alien Psychological Warfare. So opening with an analysis of the movie Dune. I haven't seen the film or read the book, so that is followed by the Avengers, not to be confused with the craptastic Marvel Universe. Very craptastic. Again, I've never seen the Avengers, or the Avengers, so I'm not going to talk about it. Bringing us to one of the greatest modern films of all time. One of the greatest modern films of all time ever. This movie is so good. So freaking good. Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer by Bong Joon-ho. Bong Joon-ho. This smashing, sensational film has a lot to show if you have the eyes to see. Geoengineering, climate change, contrails, greedy governments, and dirty billionaires. Oh, and some junkies addicted to actual rocks, which is really funny. Snowpiercer is the first Bong Joon-ho film I've seen, and this movie freaking blew me away. Let's give another cheer, dude. This movie is so good. Set in a dystopian world, much like our own, weather modification has sent the planet into an ice age, and the last remnants of society live in a bullet train called Snowpiercer. Poor people are all the way in the back of the train, and the rich elites are all the way at the front of the train, alongside the captain's quarters. Here's a great quote from the chapter, since there are a lot of skeptics on the topic of geoengineering. Listen to this. Such naivete is common on these matters, as so-called skeptics perpetually display their own ignorance of establishment tendencies. Like the taunting of psychopathic criminals, whatever is called for in the news is generally what's actually been practiced for a long while. And aerosol geoengineering and atmospheric manipulation is no exception. The technology is decades old and began as weather warfare during World War II, where seasonal changes and storms could be harnessed to harm enemy resources through controlled droughts, floods, etc. Page 287. My girlfriend wrote this section, so it's it's kind of tough to read. Well, it's not tough, it's easy to read, but it's much better than my handwriting, that's for sure. Now this brings to mind an episode of the Wake the Dead podcast. Again, another shout out. I love Wake the Dead podcast. It's one of the best. I was squinting to see if we're still recording here. We're still kosher. So, Wake the Dead podcast. There's an episode where Sean McCann and Julia of Cosmic Peach discuss the military roots of the country music industry. There was a big flood at the Grand Ole Opry where String Bean, I love String Bean, dude. The banjo player String Bean, what a legend. Freaking legend. Anyways, the Grand Ole Opry, there was a huge flood, and people speculate the flood at the Opry was caused by weather modification. Do your research. It is a very good episode. I'll put it in the description of this video. Do your due diligence. Shout out to Wake the Dead podcast, Sean McCann again. You guys are legends. I love you guys. Keep doing your work. Keep taking care of your family. You're doing fantastic. Agape. Agape to Cosmic Peach and Wake the Dead podcast. And I hope Tyler's doing good. Who's the guy? A Conspiracy's Guide to Truth. The other, Sean McCann's best friend. I think his name's Tyler. I can't remember. Legends. Thank you guys for that episode. Really good. I'll put it, like I said, I'll put it in the link of this video. Chapter 26, Alien Engineering. PSYOP. Alien Engineering PSYOP. What can I say? What can I say? The Alien movies are classic. They're phenomenal. There's so much good allegory, so much to talk about. They're classic, although, you know, James Cameron did the sequel, Aliens, and he, again, like I said earlier, he just filled it with military propaganda. There's so much, just like Avatar. You know, James Cameron's Avatar movie, filled with military propaganda. The military are the good guys, because that's why they always have their thumbs in their little jackets like this, drinking coffee in the gas station. Freaking pathetic loose hairs. Oh my gosh. Order following cowards, man. Anyways, Avatar, there's a lot of deep themes to study and look for. For example, as Jay Dyer puts the character Ash, worked for a place called The Company. Ash is an android disguised as a human and is a product of the corporation. Similar to the video game, I just did a series on called Mirror's Edge, a video game where there is a caste system and everyone works under the conglomerate. It is such an underrated game, and practically nobody saw the series I did on the Beagle Eye Vision YouTube channel. Go check out the Mirror's Edge. I did the allegory of Mirror's Edge. I would love to revisit it. Actually, I would love Mirror's Edge to come out with a new freaking Mirror's Edge game. But, you know, I'm not going to get my hopes up too high. So a huge aspect of the Alien films is feminism. Proper feminism, not the neo-feminism that Mark Passio talks about in his Unholy Feminine presentation. True femme fatale. Ripley is a legendary character that shows aspects of motherly love and realistic body expectations. As a nerd, the alien lore is also fascinating. There's so much to the alien stories, where the story, you know, it builds so much lore, it really kind of becomes its own entity. You know, you got the Alien movies, you got Prometheus, it's just like Fallout, right? You got the Fallout games, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel video game, now we have the Fallout TV show. It really, it blows up to such a point where it becomes its own little entity. It becomes its own IP, as they say. The Alien Isolation video game also carries these themes very well. Although I haven't completed the game yet, I do plan on grinding it out on the Beagle Eye channel in the future. I'm sure there is some solid allegory in it. Dyer goes deep into James Cameron's career and some of his other films, making for a pretty epic chapter, followed by chapter 27, Chapter 27 is on M. Night Shyamalan's Signs, and I love that movie, but there's something about M. Night Shyamalan's movies that are just kind of boring to me. I don't know. They don't hold my attention unless I'm extremely stoned. Like, I gotta be baked. You know, I gotta eat like 4 packs of 400 milligram edibles to sit through an entire M. Night Shyamalan movie without falling asleep. You know, they're just kind of, they're really slow. They're like sludgy. I don't know. They're weird. They're weird. So chapter 28 is called From NGOs to Feminism to Transhumanism. Again, a lot of really good stuff in that chapter, but I didn't really write any notes on it. Chapter 29, Tron. Again, really good chapter. I didn't write too much notes on it. Chapter 30, we're getting into the Matrix. So, like Jay Dyer says, the Matrix trilogy has been covered ad infinitum. Jay Dyer's analysis seems to have a lot of similarities with Mark Passio's breakdown, which I thought was interesting. This quote from the book as an example, from page 334. So, don't rip the page out, because then I'll have to re-buy the book. So, in this regard, the Matrix will operate on multiple levels, from the conspiratorial / geopolitical to the psychological to the metaphysical. In the first scene, the viewer is shown a motel called Heart of the City, where bumbling police enter room 303. Numerology does play into the film, especially since binary code is at the very heart of computers. 303 is the equivalent of 33, and Trinity is caught trying to dial into the real world to escape her inner matrix watching of Neo. Alchemy and numerology plays a high value on the number 33, being the highest degree of Scottish Rite Masonry. Manly P. Hall speaks of 33 as highly significant for alchemy because 3 times 3 equals 9. The number of the emanations from the One. Hey, shout out to Bootsy Collins. The One, and conversely, as the number of initiation. We can therefore speculate that given many examples of Masonic and occult symbols and reference in the film, this is very likely due to the paradigm of which the film was crafted. The heart is also crucial to alchemy inasmuch as the heart and intellect must combine to produce balance. Trinity is also a triadic symbol and name, so the usage is not accidental. Trinity will function as the feminine principle to Neo's masculine principle as they join to complete the alchemical mystical union in the trilogy of the Matrix films. Trinity here is not used here. Wow, that's a really confusing way. Trinity here is not used here in the common Christian sense. It is meant in the sense of a Gnostic feminine principle, Sophia, or Sophia as some people say. So the 9/11 predictive programming reference is also mentioned, because how could you not talk about the 9/11 predictive programming when you're talking about the Matrix? How could you not mention the 9/11 predictive programming aspect? Dyer says that Neo's apartment number 101 is a representation of binary code. Personally, I'm still sticking with the 1984 reference where 101 is the room that holds your deepest, darkest fears. To quote Dyer again, the book says, White Rabbit is a reference to Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland is also a classic allegory for both the intelligence world, the conspiracy world, mind control, and the psyche and its journey, page 336. On top of the Big Nine event reference, Neo's birthday on his passport is 3/11, also a very good band, which is the date of the 2004 Madrid bombing. Dyer then goes on ranting about communists/anarchists, proving yet again that he does not understand either concepts on communism or anarchism. They are not related to each other in any capacity. In any capacity whatsoever, Jay Dyer. You're just dead wrong. Anarchy is freedom! And freedom is another word for responsibility. The ability to respond. That's what anarchy is. Anarchy is the ability to respond. And communism is slavery. Anarchy is freedom, communism is slavery. like I said earlier, it's not rocket science. Just study your etymology. Do your due diligence. Don't let the university brainwash you. Jay then says that Neo is a revolutionary Luciferian figure. Total nonsense. Needless to say, his analysis of the Matrix is filled with trash, and there happens to be a tiny little, very tiny, in fact, nuggets of wisdom, so you gotta be very vigilant. Chapter 34. Chapter 34 is on the movie Ex Machina. This movie has a fantastic story. Ex Machina is a very entertaining modern film that shows us the dangers of technology. I myself I used to be a Luddite, still am in some ways. I blame my woodshop teacher, Mr. Staley, but also shout out to Mr. Staley. He's a total BA. I love you, bro. Miss you. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but since Ex Machina is kind of a more modern film, it's not as old as The Matrix, so I'm not going to spoil anything, but I will mention the themes, the theme of Gnosticism. Yeah, the theme of Gnosticism is very predominant in Ex Machina. A bottom of the totem pole dork named Caleb gets selected to be the winner of a contest at a company that he works for. The company that he works for is called Blue Book. Blue Book, which is obviously Google or Facebook. The company has the world's largest search engine, and Caleb has to go to the CEO's house to see if a robot can manipulate him. And it's all planned. It's all planned dialectic. It's really interesting. The film is definitely a tragedy, unless you are a neo-trans feminazi. And I would also say it even has some predictive programming elements with what has happened in recent news. CEO. That's all I'm going to say with what happened to recent news. I'm trying not to spoil anything. I'll close out with a quote from the book. One last quote from the book, and then I gotta get out of here. I gotta use the restroom. I'm gonna go hang out and have some fun. And then the next book review will probably be Hurricane Gold by Charlie Hickson. It'll be the 4th book in the Young Bond series, because I really want to do an easy book. This book is really serious, and on top of working 40 hours a week, it's been crazy. Ex Machina purposely leaves the deus, D-E-U-S, by the way, for the layman's, purposely leaves the deus out of the title. The classic Latin phrase means God from the machine, or the God manufactured as the solution to some system or problem, or that emerges out of the world or system. In Ex Machina, the deus is missing because Ava, one of the characters in Ex Machina, Ava is the one. In Platonic and Pythagorean numerology, the one is God and or the monad. And Ava is making clear the intention of the real world AI planners to replace the classic notions of God and in its place have the first God. In other words, director/writer Alex Garland is laying out the transhumanist goal not to dethrone God, but to become God. Because there is no God, yet in Ex Machina, the threat appears to be not a dull, drab HAL 9000 like he's referencing 2001, but a sexy, ruthless feminine principle, inverting the traditional order. Ex Machina can thus be read as either a feminist treatise against imagined patriarchal tyranny, or an actual warning of the dangers of the strategically planned and programmed AI takeover, because AI are not sentient. Yeah, especially according to that movie, AI are not sentient. So, there it is. There we have it. Did all the notes. All the notes are done. The next book is Hurricane Gold. Here, I'll show you guys the cover. And I do want to announce that Jay Dyer on his YouTube channel, where'd it go? Jay Dyer on his new YouTube channel promoted that he was doing the artwork for Esoteric Hollywood 3. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully that'll be released. If that gets released this year, it's going to be a great year because these books are epic. As much as I throw Jay Dyer under the bus for not understanding a concept as simple as anarchism, he is a good guy. He's a good researcher, or I don't know if he's a good guy, but he's definitely a good researcher for sure. So if you want to support the channel, use code BeagleEyeVision at w.gg. Get yourself some W. Get yourself one of these awesome cups. The next book is going to be Hurricane Gold by Charlie Higson. Nice and easy. I'll be able to knock it out. Like, it's only looks like about less than 300 pages. 353 pages, so I'll be able to knock it out really fast. I hope you made it. Thank you if you made this far, Internet. I appreciate you. And, man, my back hurts. I'm tired of working. My back hurts a lot. So, stay tuned. Stay gold. Stay tuned for Hurricane Gold. And use code BeagleEyeVision at w.gg. Like I said, if you want to support the channel, Happy New Year. Happy 2025. So in the last 2 years, I've done over 24 book reviews. I've gotten X amount of dubs. I've done video game breakdowns. I've done, Mirror's Edge. I'm going to do Cars 3 this year. That's the next video game I'm going to be working on once I platinum Mirror's Edge. So stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of content coming. A lot of good stuff. Like I said, I got that promotion, so maybe the production value will go up some more. Maybe I can get a better camera in here. That way you can see all my zits and all my, all my imperfections on my face, so you can make fun of me in the comments below. So, yeah, go ahead and make fun of me in the comments below. Or support the channel. Whichever you want to do. So, I'm going to close out on that song I was playing earlier. Maybe not. Alright, peace out, Internet. Thank you so much for made it this far. Bye, guys. Stay tuned. Stay gold. Stay tuned. Stay gold, or I will find you.